Welcome to Formula Friday, your weekly Formula One show. I'm Nick. That's Lewis. Let's talk some wheel. We have a lot to get through today. Well, I say a lot. We have a very action packed Mexican Grand Prix to get through. A little light on the news side, but before we get to all of that, Lewis, how's your week been?
Not been too bad. No, just work and big projects to go. Been playing a lot of Balatro lately. Roguelike solitaire poker game. It's roguelites
hmm
have just been getting me. They've replaced my chess. Speaking of chess,
Uh,
what
yeah.
what does the weekly Nick chess update look like today?
Well, you clocked me. I do want to say quick. I got really into Balatro about a year ago. I love that game, but I have not been back to it. I might have to go back. Weekly chess update. It's been a good week. As you know, I've been trying to work my elo back up after I tanked it into a giant pit. Um, on Monday, I got 3 games in and I won every single one. One of those was a disconnect, so it's like a, but I think I was winning. Another one, the guy just left because I was winning, and I legitimately won the third one that day. Then I was on a streak where I was winning and winning. I got my elo up to like 372, and then I lost 2 games today. I just wasn't in a good chess headspace.
Hmm.
So I'm back down. I'm still above 350, barely, but I'm still above 350. And I've also recently re-challenged our mutual friend who is somehow better at chess than he should be. I've survived longer than I should have. He tried to kind of tangle me up into a trap, and I caught it right away. So my chess vision is getting a little better. But we're still in the middle of our game. We do like a daily 3 days to make a move kind of game, kind of like what you and I do. We're just kind of going back and forth with it right now. Otherwise, yeah, that's basically been my week. It's work and chess.
Yeah, that's pretty much life at this work and chess in Formula One.
Work, chess, and Formula One. And with that, let's talk about Mexico. So it was a good race. It
Yeah,
was a really good race. There
yeah.
was a lot.
Yeah, I kind of want to. Real quick, I just want to get out there. Last week, I said I have high hopes. Tilt track, I did not think it was going to be a good race. Grab this fork right now and start eating my own words because
You are
I
0 for
was way
2 when it
off.
comes to these tracks.
You know what? I'm happy about it. I'm happy being wrong. Like if I go into it say it's going to be a boring race and it's amazing, I'm happy with it. I don't want to be.
Mhm. That's I'm also don't want you to be right. These tracks are again proving that Tilk isn't that bad, and I think the overall F1 community is just I don't know, they treat him like some boogeyman. Ooh. I think the
I
worst Tilk track is because did he do Paul Ricard?
think he did do that one, but
Paul Ricard sucks. I hate that track, but I think that's it.
my issue with Paul
I think
Ricard
it's
is it's the runoffs. There is
yeah.
runoffs. It's using it's eh,
It's just blue. It's just so blue. It doesn't need to be that blue. It's just all pavement. People complain about Miami being a parking lot. No, Paul Ricard is more of a parking lot than Miami. At least Miami, you have variety in the
yeah.
surroundings. But we're not talking about Miami. We're talking about Mexico. Lap one, Max and Charles got off track. A lot of people got off track in turn one. Lance and Franco ended up wrecking each other toward the end of lap one. Max went super wide into the grass and rallied his way back onto the track with, I'm not kidding, inches from hitting the wall. Anybody else that wasn't Max, maybe Carlos Sainz also could have done it, but
Yeah.
that should have taken off his tire. Like the way he was able to just slide and maneuver the car on the grass, barely scraping by the wall, and still coming out in third after all of that. Insane.
Yeah, it was really it was awesome to see like the turn one incident, and then like you said, if it wasn't Max, that would have been almost game over. Like once you're in the grass, but somehow it seemed like he kept his foot in it in a weird way and still kept it going. Like I don't get how he does rallycross and
It's because he's Max freaking Verstappen. That's the only explanation
yeah,
that
I keep on
exists.
forgetting.
And normally lap 1 is kind of what it is, and then the race will settle down for a little bit before the first round of pit stops start, but not this one. In lap 3, Liam Lawson already had to replace his front wing.
Yeah,
Oscar got stuck behind Yuki as well. I call it the Yuki wall because Yuki makes it really hard to pass him if he wants you to have a hard time passing him. Words.
yeah. With the Lawson, they even seem to struggle replacing that front wing. In my notes, I literally said it was a McLaren pit stop because it took
It
so
did
long.
it did take a weird amount of time for them to replace a wing. Obviously, replacing a wing is not going to be a normal pit stop length, but it was longer than it should have been. I'm
Yeah,
not sure what was up with V carb.
yeah. Because
Uh,
normally you jack up from the front with the wing, but if you got to replace the wing, you can't jack it up. So they got to do stuff. It was like they never practiced that before or something.
yeah, it's super. The pit stops have been the pickers in general seem like they've been bad this season.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's weird.
It is really weird. Max's adventure in the grass, by the way, in the first lap, that wasn't the only grass adventure that we had because in lap 6, Max cut over the grass. Lewis ended up having to take the escape, but he didn't take the new escape route road thing that they had carved out. Instead, he kind of did it and then he just went on the grass to rejoin because and I'm going to take Lewis's side here. That rejoin onto the track, that new one, is terrible. It's essentially spitting you out at a 90-degree angle on the track. I don't know what the point of that is. You would want a runoff to be a little more smooth, I would think, especially if you're allowed to rejoin the track. So I get why Lewis rejoined the way he did because if he would have rejoined the way they wanted him to rejoin, then he would have caused a bigger collision.
Yeah,
That's how I saw it anyway.
yeah, I agree. It seemed very odd. It's he took a runoff road, but not the right one. So hey, that's a penalty. Spoiler.
Yeah. Another highlight from lap 6, Ollie Behrman got up to 4th place, and he
Yeah,
was battling Max.
yeah. I I literally have in my notes Ollie battling Max. WTF is happening? Because one, he was up there like you shouldn't be up here, and then two, he was battling Max Verstappen. It's like, what are you? What's happening?
Right. I don't get it either. And you remember earlier when we mentioned Liam getting that new front wing?
Yeah,
Didn't matter because lap 7, lap 8, he DNF'd. And it was interesting. So before we started, I told you I didn't get a chance to watch qualifying. I lied. I also just forgot that I had a chance to watch qualifying.
Mhm.
I did watch all of qualifying. Liam Lawson got into Q3 and he didn't lay down any flying laps. It's like he went out and then he jumped back in and he was complaining about the car being really hard to drive. And I guess I just chalked it up to the tires for some reason. But I think it's an overall problem with the car at this track for whatever reason. And I think after 8 laps, 7, 8 laps, he just couldn't do it. So we'll talk about this more later, but there goes my grid gamble.
That's very true.
Oscar finally got past the Great Wall of Yuki. I hope that's not problematic. He
No.
got past Yuki around lap 10. At this point, you're starting to think about pit strategy. I think around lap 10 because it
Yeah.
was another situation where softs, hards, not hard, softs and mediums. The hards were very poor here.
Yeah, and I believe Max started on the mediums, and the way he was racing, the way he was almost locking up, the way he was going deep in the corners, I wonder if he's like I was really wondering if he started on the mediums to be more aggressive on them than the softs, not having to baby them. If he was just going to
Hmm.
do the same strategy as the soft strategy, like the two stops or whatever. And later on in the race, there's GP was even asking one Jean Pierre Lambs. I can't pronounce his name. I'm sorry.
You're
The
fine.
yeah, the engineer for Max even didn't even know if they were on two one stop. So
Yeah, and that I want to talk about that radio call quick because even I watched the Sky broadcast and there were at first they were saying, "Oh, do they not know he's the strategist? They should know." What it was, and Max confirmed this after the race. he was just on the wrong button because he was on that button to ask the other strategy people about what their strategy was. He wasn't actually confused. It was a confirmation thing,
Oh,
but
okay.
obviously it sounded differently
Yeah.
over the air. I
Okay.
mean, funny
That
mistake
makes
though. It's funny
sense.
that that happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
but Max cut that off right away because like, oh, during the interview, he's like, "Oh, do you guys have trouble with your strategy?" Max is like, "No, no, 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 no. He just it was the wrong button. That's all that was."
Yeah, I think GP and Max are unbreakable couple.
They are really good together.
They are. Uh
10, 5 laps later, Lewis was giving a 10-second penalty after that runoff stuff of cutting the grass and not taking the right escape road, which is dumb.
yeah, and it was also weird that he got like no further investigation for one of the things he was being investigated for, but not no like he got a penalty for the other thing. It's so he had like two things being investigated against him at one time.
Mhm. It was a mess. It was just such a mess.
It was. It felt like Michael Massey was back at this.
It did have a little bit of the Massey vibe, especially much later on when I mean, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Lap 18, by the way, by lap 18, Lando was already 7.3 seconds ahead of Charles, who was in second. And a lot of that, I think, was in part of Ferrari. People have joked about it. Their LICO strategy, lift in, coast out, because Ferrari has to do that. Otherwise, they wear their plank down so much or too much, and then we get a situation like what happened in China early at the beginning of the season. So they are very conservative with how they have to drive. I think it might be a suspension issue or something. But because of that and Charles being a great driver and keeping was who was in third? Was that was Max in third, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeping he was able to hold off Max, but Max wasn't it resulted in Lando turning into 2023 Max, basically is what happened.
Yes.
And honestly, I love a good defense in Formula 1. I one of my favorite memories was 2022. I think it was the first race of the season. George, just watching George defend, I don't remember who he was defending against. It might have been Max. But George is really good at blocking. He is so good at blocking. And a little tiny part of me was very satisfied watching George defend against Oscar because I'm a McLaren fan, but I'm a Lando fan first. And Lando was in first place, and I needed Lando to win, and I needed Oscar to finish below fourth or below, because that means Lando took the lead in the championship. I just that whole race was me hoping that Oscar finished lower than Lando by a very specific position, and George played a very big part in that. So thank you, George.
Yeah, I think you owe one to George. So watching that race from your perspective,
Mhm.
is it bittersweet? Like you're kind of rooting against your own team. Like, yeah, you are a Lando fan first, but like, is it kind of a masochistic feel to it?
Probably a little bit. It's I don't know. It is definitely weird for me. I mean, beginning of the season, I'm a McLaren fan. But once I saw the writing on the wall that it was going to come down to either Max,
Maybe.
slip to either Lando or Oscar, I had to really go back to my NASCAR roots and pick a favorite singular driver, even if they're all on the same team. Because at the end of the day, I've been a Lando fan since I started watching F1, and I have watched him grow and fall apart and grow and get torn down and fall apart. And I think that winning this championship would do a lot of good for him. And having his name on the history books is going to be great. And we've talked about this before. Oscar, I firmly believe, has 2, 3 championships in him over his career, at least. I think this might be Lando's best shot at one. And I am just fully committed. I'm just fully in the Lando camp. So yeah, I'm a McLaren fan, but I'm a Lando fan first because he was the driver I supported. And I just really, really want him to do this. So I guess to answer your question, it's probably a little masochistic, but I don't see it that way because I guess I'm Team Lando now. I'm starting as Team McLaren, but I'm Team Lando right now. And who knows? Next season, new regs. And by the way, people forget. Next season, if Oscar does better than Lando, I mean, I don't know, because like I'm Team McLaren. I guess we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. But if it's some ungodly gap where there's no way Lando's ever going to catch up, then I might just have to root for Oscar because it's the team win.
Yeah.
It's a thing that I haven't had to really think about or reconcile before because I'm new enough to F1 that I've never had a driver or a team compete for a championship. So this is very uncharted territory for me.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can think of would be similar in recent, besides like I don't know, maybe be like a Ricardo fan on Red Bull or something. Got that?
Yeah.
It's hard to root against your team, but yeah, it's best of luck to you, man. It's gonna be a rough rest of the season.
It's going to be rough, but listen, I got to tell you something.
I'm
You know
listening.
how last weekend I was firmly on the oh Max is going to win this championship. He's going to find a way. I know Lando's only a point ahead in the championship right now, but he's going to win. Lando's going to win the championship. It is 100% going to happen. I want it to happen, and I am being a fully deranged fan when I say this.
So when it comes down to Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi,
Uh-huh.
one of the Middle East, you're going to cry either way.
Yes. I was talking with my fiance last week, before the race started. I said if it comes down to Abu Dhabi and Lando ends up winning, that's going to be 7 in the morning here, I think. I told her I will be celebrating that entire day. I'm going to wake up that Sunday. If Lando wins it all, I'm just going to lock myself in my office or something. I'm going to imbibe. That's exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to be so freaking happy. The second I can, I'm going to buy Lando championship gear and I'm just going to celebrate all freaking day. I've never had a team in any sport that I like. I've never had a team win a championship. So
Yeah.
it's going to be awesome.
I would assume if it came down to that last race, you would have. Have you seen The Office?
Yes.
The where Michael Scott has a happy box and a sad box for when Holly does break up or doesn't break up with her boyfriend. I feel like that's going to be
Mhm.
you in Abu Dhabi. It's just like I'm going to have one box ready to go if it's sad or if it's happy. But speaking from someone, I just had my favorite team win the championship of Oklahoma City Thunder. It is a
Mhm.
glorious moment, and I wish you to feel that excitement. And for me, the it was better, almost better. It was pretty close to being better. Seeing them hang the banner than it was actually
Mhm.
seeing them winning it, and I think that's going to be like that for you if Lando drives with a number one.
Oh, I've never thought about that. Oh, that
Yeah,
tickled my brain.
yeah.
Lewis, that tickled my brain. I like
Just
that.
Lando
Oh.
going from the 4 to the 1, I think that would
Ooh.
be something
Ooh, I got
special.
goosebumps. Oh.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the hanging of the banner was insane for me. I think that's going to do it for you. Is that number 1 on that papaya?
Yeah.
The one
Yeah,
next to
you're
the
right.
81.
That will do it for me. I think it's safe to say no matter how Abu Dhabi turns out, I will be drinking that morning.
That's fair.
Back to the race. Um, we started getting our first round of legitimate pits around lap 23. First, it was Kimmy. He came in. Lewis came into pit. Ollie went up to P3, which is insane. Lewis served his 10-second penalty in that pit, dropped down to 14th. Max was found of no wrongdoing. And that's when we weren't sure what was happening with Red Bull strategy with the radio call. Oscar came into pit the very next lap, 3.4 seconds. And because of that, he does not end up ahead of Lando whenever Lando decides to come into pit. I don't, he wouldn't anyway, but how undercuts and overcuts and all of that work. Ollie came in around this time too. Haas gave him a 2.6-second pit stop.
Yeah, Haas looked good all around.
Yeah, I, d- I don't know what that was. It
Yeah,
was cool. I don't know what that was.
it's that weird. Just everything lined up perfectly for them. It was insane.
That's exactly what it was. I don't. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I was dumbfounded seeing Ollie run so good, seeing like Ocon up there. It was weird seeing this Haas team start showing with like I hope it continues. I don't know, in a way I kind of doubt it because Gene Haas has never shown me consistency in F1. But yeah,
Gene doesn't care. He does not care about that
it's a
team. That team
sponsorship
is a
for him.
billboard for him.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I'm glad that the drivers are making the most out of it. And Ollie is continuing to make a very good case for himself about why he should end up with Ferrari when it's time for him to move up to Ferrari. Because ultimately, that's where he's going. That's what his trajectory should be,
he's
provided weird things don't happen with Oscar.
and he's a Ferrari Academy driver. It's not like it's somewhere out of the blue. He's a Ferrari Academy. Like, why
He
wouldn't he
drove the
go?
Ferrari last season when Carlos
Yeah,
had his appendicitis. He drove it good. I like Ollie. I like Ollie a lot. I think Ollie has a bright future ahead of him in Formula One.
yeah. The post race with his girlfriend. I'm not gonna spoilers. We're gonna get to it. That was a amazing moment. I don't know if you saw it. His girlfriend was.
I didn't. Uh,
I'll talk about it later.
um, lap
Cliffhanger.
28, we got our next DNF in Hulk. RIP.
Yep.
I rough. It's just a really tough one for Hulk. He's at a really bipolar season when it comes to
Yeah,
that car and
I think that's a good way to
everything.
put it.
And it's hard for me. It's really hard for me to think about that he is going to be driving next year, next season when it's Audi because I don't. It's really painful to watch him now. And I'm not saying that he's a bad driver, but he's an old driver,
Yeah.
and I think that it's time to make room. And I have the same thoughts about Alonso, by the way.
But do you think the only reason he's gonna be driving for Audi is like,
I think that's part of it.
yeah,
But
because
surely they have to have somebody else in the can ready to go. Well, I mean, they do. It's
Mick?
supposed to be. No,
I'll say Mick is.
there's. I think it's Jack Crawford. I think Jack
Oh,
Crawford might be. Maybe. Mick would be great. I would love Mick, but I don't know if anybody really wants Mick. He seems kind of like a poison apple, and if this thing works out for him in Indy, I can't see him wanting to leave Indy, especially if he's successful to go back to F1.
yeah, and he was doing pretty good in WEC, and also not
Hmm.
like he's a bad driver. It just seems really weird that no one. I think it's the last name. I think if he had a different last, a lot different.
Hmm. Lap 30, Carlos got his first 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit on lap 18. So it took them, what is that? What's that math? What's 30 minus 18?
Like
12?
20, yeah, 12. I about said 22. Yeah,
It took
12.
them 12 laps to decide to give Carlos a penalty for speeding in the pits, but that wasn't. It was his fault in that he was in the car and it was happening, but it wasn't his fault in that he had no control over how fast he was going in the pits because
Yeah,
his car was built.
his car was literally jumping. Like it was like the car had severe anxiety. I almost felt bad
Mhm.
for the car. Like, hey, it's
Like
okay, it's
porpoising
okay.
came back with a vengeance.
Yeah, it came back going 50 kilometers an hour or whatever, just barely doing anything. It
He
was
had
almost
no he had no control over that, and it sucks that he got dinged for that. Like I get it because of the rules and the regulations, but there has to be some kind of leeway. Hey, the car won't let me go slower.
yeah. It was. You would think that, but I I don't know. And NASCAR punishes teams, and I feel like F1 should start doing that for situations like this. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, his car looked like you've done online racing. It looked like a weird lag spike. Your car was glitching around and trying to
Yeah.
figure out where it's supposed to be in relation to everybody else. That's what it
Mhm.
seemed like. It was really weird to see.
Lap 31, by the way, Lando was 16 and a half seconds ahead. And at this point, I'm hoping that they keep Lando out until he is, was it 22 seconds was the total pit stop in Mexico?
Yeah,
I, this is when I start understanding what their strategy is going to be. and that is they're gonna make him. It's essentially it's just Max 2023. He's gonna get so far ahead that it doesn't matter if he comes into pit because he's still gonna come back out 7 seconds ahead,
Yeah,
and that's exactly what happened. And I loved it, and I was a little worried about the undercut from Charles, but then I realized, well, if Charles goes into pit, Lando's gonna be even farther ahead. So really, this is great. This is just yes, Charles, please pit. I'm fine with that. That's not a problem.
yeah, it was my favorite part of the Sunday mornings where I feel like all of us become race strategists. We are
Mhm.
doing the math and figuring everything out.
Just start seeing numbers and flying in front of
Exactly.
my eyes like,
I,
"Yes,
I
yes,
got
yes."
spreadsheets up and I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to get them on the phone. Like, hey, we gotta stay out.
Lando did finally come into pit around lap 34. Lewis, he was 29 seconds ahead of Max in P2.
Yeah,
And here's
man.
the most impressive thing that happened. So Oscar pit first, right? He had that 3.6 second stop. Lando came in. Lando pit second. And you know what has happened all season with McLaren.
Yes.
The second car comes into pit, and it's like a 10-second pit stop. Not only was it a short pit stop? There were no problems at all. It was 2.6 seconds. It was a full second faster than Oscar's. Lando got out there and had plenty of space behind him when he came back out.
Yeah, I noticed that too. And do they just gotta have? Is it just a McLaren thing? They just gotta have one bad stop because that's pretty. Trend still continues. They just have one good stop, one mediocre stop.
There's definitely a one bad stop quota on that team for whatever reason. I'm not sure
Yeah,
what that is. Maybe this is so you remember the what words did they use? The punishment or whatever? Maybe that's what it is. They just have it randomized on which one of the pit guns is going to malfunction, and you don't know which one it is and when it is. So that's how they even it out. It's just RNG.
it's Russian roulette, but with an air gun.
Uh-huh. Yuki started to hemorrhage positions around this time. I don't know what happened because at first I thought he just let Oscar pass. The more I started looking or watching him, the more it seemed like he was starting to. There was something wrong with the car, or he seemed like he was struggling with something because he was giving up way more positions than I think he normally would have.
Yeah, I've been kind of hard on Yuki just because of Max is doing good. Huh? You should be doing at least a little bit better. But yeah, he was getting passed
You
by
can't do that if you're Max's teammate.
Yeah, okay. I'm trying to give him a little bit of like, okay, if Max is finishing first, you should be in the points at least.
Yeah,
That's kind of my leeway. But like, he was getting passed by Bortoletto. Nothing against Bortoletto, but Yuki's better. He's in a better car.
yeah,
It was felt very weird. And the Bortoletto pass was like, it made it look easy. Like Yuki wasn't even trying. I don't know.
yeah. That's fair. I can see that. I suppose that makes sense.
And I don't know if
I
Yuki's tanking or like what is he doing to his like
see.
stock?
And that doesn't make any sense. Like, I can't see him tanking because I've talked about this before. This is when he needs to pad out his resume
Yeah.
to give himself a fighting chance to be a reserve driver. Or maybe, I mean, yeah, no, that's what he's at right now. He needs to be a reserve driver or he's going to have to go to another series. But tanking isn't going to help you in either scenario. Yuki needs to put out his absolute best stuff every single week until the end of the season to have a fighting chance.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, we saw him Drive to Survive. He didn't like put in the work. They had to move him closer to Milton Keynes and all of this, and but it's just, I don't know. He's starting to get that Stroll vibe to him in a weird way, where it's like he's gonna show up, maybe, possibly. We're not even getting the Yuki radios anymore. Which, granted, he calmed down on the radio, but we're not even getting like. At least they're not showing on the broadcast. I haven't been listening to him exclusively, but it just seems like he's been
Hmm.
mellowed. Like he just, I don't care. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
and
it.
I
Maybe
mean,
they already let him know.
maybe Red Bull also just beat him down because that also happens to Red Bull number twos.
Yeah, look at Danny Rick.
Mm. Alonso DNF at lap 36, which this is the first time we've had multiple DNFs in a race in a while, isn't it?
I felt like it, like at least. Well, yeah, I'm trying to
I mean,
think.
with all the gaps between races, I guess it just feels that way. So I don't know.
I would say this is the first time we've seen multiple DNFs that aren't related to each.
Yeah, that's true. They all just, it was all of the cars just kind of giving up.
Yeah, I think we're getting towards the end of the season where it's like people don't want to use new parts.
Hmm. That makes sense. And I mean, F1 is a season long endurance. It's like baseball, it's
Yeah.
about it's about the whole season when it comes to these cars. And yeah, I mean, people are new regulations. People are preparing for next season, and that's kind of a unique thing with Red Bull and Haas too. They're both pulling out pretty major upgrades this late in the season. Red Bull makes sense because they want to pull a sneaky and get a championship, which would be funny but hurt. Haas, though, I'm not sure why Haas is doing it, but I'm glad they're doing it. It really does give the message that they care, or at
Yeah.
least the team, not Gene, but the team cares, which is nice. I like seeing that sometimes. It's they're not going to win the constructors, or they're not even going to place top 5 in the constructors, but the fact that they're still fighting this close to the end is really admirable. I like seeing teams do that. I like watching football and it's the fourth quarter and there's 5 seconds left and you can tie the game if you go for 2. Go for 2. I like seeing teams go for 2 instead of just settling for the field goal. I or the point after, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like I like when people fight to the very end because that's what you have to do. If you're just accepting your fate or whatever, what's the point? You showed up to fight. Fight. Just
Yeah.
fight.
And at the end of the day, like everyone's here to race. This is, I feel like 19 of the 20 drivers, I feel like excluding Lance Stroll, you're here because you love the sport. You love racing. You want to be a champion. It's
Mhm.
like, why? And I feel like the people working in F1 on the pit wall and the tire changers, everybody that has to rebuild a car day in, day and night, they don't do it for the money. Well, you obviously have the money, but like I feel like it's a
Mhm.
love of the sport. It's a love of the game.
It really is.
Yeah, that's why I'm not a huge fan of Haas, and that's why I'm kind of looking forward to Cadillac coming in to have an American team.
I'm so looking forward to Cadillac, the first actual American team in Formula 1.
Yeah, and
That's how I'm gonna build them.
yeah, and I'm slowly talking myself into being okay with cheering for GM. I'm going to it
Around
like
lap
yeah, going to meetings. It's fine. We're getting there.
around lap 41 is when we got my favorite storyline of the race, I think, in the
Oh,
Kimi and George team order saga. So what it boiled down to was George was trying his damnedest to hold off Oscar because Oscar was like a shark with blood in the water, and Kimmy was ahead of George. And George was convinced that he had better pace, so he needed to pass Kimmy to try to have a chance to overtake Ollie Behrman in the Haas to get on the podium. My whole thought the whole time, because George was complaining to his team about it the entire time, like, yeah, 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 okay, we'll see. I think that it was intentional that Mercedes kept George behind Kimmy because George is blocking Oscar the whole time, and he's doing a damn good job of it because he has to. Because, in his words, I got an effing McLaren in my ass. Hilarious radio, by the way.
I love it. Top 10.
And Kimmy isn't going to block as well as George because George just has more experience than he does. So I think that was intentional because I think Mercedes was trying to cut off Oscar. I think they were more worried about blocking Oscar from getting more points than they were about letting George catch the Haas or letting Kimmy catch the Haas. And then I think George finally just squeaky wheeled enough, which is why they decided to do the team orders, but later than they should have, like 5 laps later than they should
Yeah.
have. And it ultimately ended up not mattering because then, of course, Oscar got past Kimmy and George just did his best. But eventually Oscar got past George too because George just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, he George was also complaining about before he said he had McLaren up his bum. He was complaining about his tires. He had no rear tires anymore just from fighting and from attacking. So
hmm And
it's
then another favorite moment of mine in this race, Lewis, the Ferrari pit Lewis at lap 48, Mercedes pit Kimi at lap 48, and I think Ollie, yep, Ollie came in as well on lap 48 for some reason. It's kind of baffling. Nobody's sure why Ollie came in at that time, but he did. And not only did Ollie come into the pit at the same time as George, Haas had another incredibly fast pit stop, and actually he came out ahead of George. I think what they were hoping for was some kind of undercut situation, and Haas, just incredible foresight. They're like, "Nah, you come in too, and we'll do it faster." And it ultimately didn't matter. And then that's Ollie stayed in fourth. It was awesome.
yeah, it was great to see that, and there was also Max and Lewis battling on the track too. Oh, it was so
Yeah,
good to see that again. Just to
it's
see,
fun to watch. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I felt like watching Max and Lewis made Lewis like age backwards 5 years. It was just awesome.
I saw a tweet the other day that said they love watching Max and Lewis fight each other because whenever they're at the same whenever they're in the same general vicinity of the asphalt, Max reverts back to 2018 Max. Max, I think Lewis just does something in Max like in a deep down primitive level, and it just ugh. It's really great to see those two race, and I love it. I looked at my fiance and I'm like, this is kind of like what 2021 was like, except it was the whole season. And she said, I wish I could have seen that. I'm like,
It
yeah, you
was.
do. It was awesome.
Did you see show her the picture from Monza? Just
Oh,
the tire on, literally on Lewis's head. Yeah.
Danny Rick's last win. Mm.
Oh yeah.
That race makes me
Oh,
sad. It's a really bittersweet race for me.
I didn't. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
The only
now
reason
that's
Danny Rick could have won is because of that.
true. Uh, well, before you like made me sad, I was gonna say the whole Max and Lewis situation. That was very much like the movie Rush. You know, you
Yeah, it
had
was.
like those two just they're bitter rivals, but they love
Mhm.
and respect each other.
I will forever be grateful that my first season fully watching Formula One and paying attention was the 2021 season. And I came in right at the beginning too, before all of that happened. I got to watch it unfold live every week, every other week, and it was incredible. And that played a big part of getting me hooked on the sport to begin with, because I knew even when it was happening, I knew that it was special. Like this isn't going to happen every season. What we are witnessing right now is history. Max is going for his first championship. Lewis is going for his eighth. It was going to be incredible no matter how it shook out. And we can argue about how this season ended, but it was an incredible season. And I will I will always look back at 2021 is the best season of sports I've ever witnessed in my life. And I'm saying that as somebody who watched the Dolphins play in 2022 and they got to their first playoff in forever. It was incredible. Now they still lost, but they made it, and that's what counts. They got to round one of the playoffs. I love 2021 so much, and it's always nice to see Lewis and Max have a go at it, like old time's sake. Um, Around lap 54, I was starting to get nervous that Lando hadn't pit still because he was still on a one stopper, and I was paranoid that something was like the end of Cars. I was scared that his tire was going to explode. I was scared he was gonna hit the wall. It was essentially I was getting flashbacks of Sochi 2021. Speaking of, I thought a
Oh,
similar thing was gonna. I was worried that something like Sochi 21 was going to happen here, where he just had such a good lead and some thing in the universe was just gonna rip it away and rip out my heart, but it didn't. And Lando drove masterfully, and also lap 56, Carlos Sainz got another drive-through penalty for speeding in the
yeah.
pit.
Poor signs.
Poor Sainz.
I mean, that should
Oscar
be the end
finally
of it,
passed.
right? I was gonna say
Hmm?
signs should that should be the end of signs, right? There's nothing more going to happen with signs, right?
Yeah, no, that's it.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
Uh, Oscar finally passes George now. um, around lap 60. So that got Oscar to fifth. And I said, unfortunately, it was a fantastic pass because, dude, it was.
Yeah.
George defending with all of his life. Like you mentioned earlier, his tires gave out. He couldn't do it anymore. But the way Oscar was able to navigate around George, it was just so masterfully done. And it is one of my favorite things to see is just two drivers racing clean, but racing hard. And ultimately, the best driver won out. And is, like I said, much to my chagrin, it was cool.
It was a really good pass, and it's nice to see Oscar like he showed championship potential again.
Hmm. And now we get to the end of the race. And let's set the stage. Max is in third. He's catching Charles very slowly because Charles is on slower tires. Slower tires? Older tires.
Yeah. It
Blood in
means
the
the same.
water. They are. He is getting hunted down. Lando, still a comfortable lead. That's fine. Suddenly, yellow flag. Track hazard? What's the hazard on the track, you ask? It's Carlos Sainz, the man with the worst luck of the day. Probably the worst luck of the entire season. The debris was his car. It stopped. His car stopped and he was off the track and not in the way of anything, but for some reason it turned into a virtual safety car. Do you have any more insight on this? Why? Why did this happen?
Michael Massey was there. I have no idea. I'm just
No.
joking with that, but
A lot of
okay,
21 references today.
yeah, it was a good year. Uh,
It was such a good year.
but honestly, the only thing I could think of was technically Marshall's were on track to push his car behind the wall. So Marshall's
Mhm.
on track equal VSC. Was that for safety of Marshalls and everything? That's the only thing I could think of.
Makes sense. Yes.
But the car wasn't in. But I get it. It's just ah, that's my
So
insight.
earlier,
Is ah,
this is a really fun contrast to think about. Earlier this year, it was during the summer break. For S's and G's, went back and I watched the 1982 Formula One season. And when those cars died, you know what they did, Lewis? They left them on the track. They left him on the track. They might have left him between the track and the barrier on a little slim sliver of grass, but they just stayed there. I'm not saying they need to do that because that was stupid and dangerous, but it's just an interesting contrast to see that's what the sport was and to see what it is now. And it's a good thing that they put up a VSC for marshals and everything, making sure everybody's safe. But it was like what you said, they didn't need to do that. His car was out of the way. I don't know I don't know what that was, and I mean, conspiracy theorists, they're just trying to screw over Max. They weren't. It's fine. It's not. He finished third. He got a podium. It's okay. We did get robbed of that battle because Max would have caught Charles, but it wouldn't have really mattered ultimately at the end of the day. Max would have gotten what, one, two more points.
yeah, because they went from third to second, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
so he would have went from 15 points to 18
yeah. It's
points.
in the grand scheme of things. I don't think it matters, so I don't care. Is that
Yeah.
Is that a hot take? Is that wrong of me to say?
No, I think in the grand scheme of things, it's not the big of a deal because Max did gain on Oscar. So
Mhm.
that's his next competition in the points, technically speaking. So
Right.
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what's a point, but I still wish they had the fastest lap point.
I do too. I miss the fastest lap point so much. The absolute pettiness that came out of that. So the race ended. McLaren won. Lando won. It was McLaren's first win in Mexico since, do you know what year?
Uh, no.
1989.
Wow, a long time. That would have been before the stadium section too.
Yeah, it would have been. It's when it was still the one of the first iterations of this track. I've always loved this track. It's a great track. I Okay, I'm gonna go on a rant here for I don't know how long. I am gonna go on a rant though. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
At the end of the race, they're doing the interviews and then they do the podium. Yeah, 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 we're all happy. Then the winning car, which
Yes.
this is my favorite feature of Mexico, by the way, how the winning car and the winning driver come up on the platform, and it's just like, oh, hello. During this time, whenever Lando was getting interviewed and when he was coming up to the podium, he was getting booed so loud by everybody in attendance that you could hear it. And I got so pissed off by that. And on one hand, I know it's sports, you can boo. Fine. That's whatever. But what was making me angry was it felt so unwarranted and I couldn't think of a single reason why he was getting booed. Um the race published something later that day where it was essentially something with him and Checo getting into it at some point, which I can't think of any way that him and Checo ever would have gotten into it. So that feels like it's a non-answer. Another thing is, oh, they just really like Max in Mexico for some reason, which sure, I guess, but Max fans are if that is the case, which is kind of the thing I'm leaning more towards, Max fans just still have such a disgust for Lando to the point where it is annoying. And this is me being soft, and I don't need to defend another man. That's fine. I get it. I just it makes me so angry because I almost feel protective of Lando because I relate with and I understand his mental health struggles. And that's part of the sport too is being mentally fit as well as physically fit. But I don't you don't see booze like that. Like it was I don't remember the last time I heard so much booing in such a loud way for a person who won a race. Who a person who hasn't done anything wrong. Like, it was one thing if they would boo him if he was like a POS, cocky, like Denny Hamlin type of driver, It's like, But he is nice. Lando is so nice. He's never like once said anything like F the fans or flipped anybody off. He's never done that. It just feels mean. It just feels mean. That's all it is. It just feels mean and I don't like it.
Yeah. So I agree with what you're saying. Um Now, to kind of rebuttal devil's advocate a little bit here, a little bit of yin, a little bit of yang is like what we like to do
Uh-huh.
here. So, as you know, I'm a big Thunder fan. We just won the championship. I like going on Reddit.
Mhm.
It's my place where I can see multiple NBA fans. Reddit's a cesspool. It is what it is. But
It
I like
is.
seeing just people talk about NBA and stuff. Thunder 2 years ago, everyone loved them. They're the underdogs. Blah blah blah. Now, anytime the Thunder's brought up, everyone hates on them. It's part of being the best there is. People like to hate the best. It happened with Max Verstappen. It happened with Lewis Hamilton. It happened with Sebastian Vettel. So
No, you're right.
take this as a compliment and as a badge. In my opinion, I'm not telling you what to do, but like you are getting booed. Like as you said, you relate to him. So you, as a Lando fan, are getting booed.
Mhm.
You are people. People are scared of you. It's like you want to relate to Cars. Remember at the end of Cars 3 where
Jackson
forget his
Storm.
Jackson Storm goes and talks to
Uh-huh.
her, and it's like she's like, and Lightning McQueen's like, "Hey, you see what happened? You're in his head. That's what's happening. Lando is in the fan's head."
You're right. You're really right. This really does go back to me not knowing how to handle being in a championship contention, having a
Yes.
team of mine, a favorite
Yes.
driver of mine being a championship contender. I've never experienced this before. And I know me complaining about another man in another athlete, another man in sports getting booed seems soft. It is. It's so soft. It's very Charmin soft. I just I took it very personally, and I felt because I'm so protective of Lando, just because again I relate to him
Yes.
in a lot of levels. It- I was projecting is mostly what it was, but at the same time, it's still so confusing to me because how do you boo somebody who's so nice?
Yeah, and I get it, and I get the whole booing in sports. Like I said, Thunder fan. I will boo Kevin Durant any chance I get. Long story short, Kevin Durant, I don't like him. Just
Mhm.
great guy. Maybe I don't know, but as a fan, not. Uh, but yeah, just embrace the success, embrace the hate. It's going to come with it, and it's fun, and it's it's very jarring, especially because, like I said, Thunder fan. So like we were really awful like 5 years ago, and now we're the number one team. So it's like a whole it's the whole the community meme where Donald Glover's walking in with a piece of pizza and the whole place is on fire. Everyone's swinging a towel and everything. That's me walking in somewhere like, "Hey, I'm a Thunder fan. We won the championship." Everyone's like, "Oh my god, you are awful." Yeah. So, and also take this too. They interview at the stadium section. This has a
Mhm.
whole group of people, so it is very centered. So the loudness, the fans is amplified.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That does make sense, especially with the shape of everything. Yeah. Okay.
Like Ed
I get
Sheeran, it's
that.
the shape of you.
Nice. This was the best Haas finish in team history, by the way. Ollie finishing fourth. What a drive. What a good
Yes.
drive.
It was amazing. And the part I was going to talk about his girlfriend, he was doing an interview and they cut behind the person doing the interview. Behind him was his girlfriend, Ollie's girlfriend, crying, just tears of joy with his
Oh.
dad. And he was just standing there like smiling and he was almost crying. It was just, you can see how much this meant to them.
Mhm.
And that's why he has the drive. He can do it. And Haas doing this. It's like, guys, I don't want to cheer for you. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, he's got the drive to survive for sure.
Ooh, ha ha.
Another fun thing that happened this weekend during FP1,
But
George wasn't driving his car, so he decided he wanted to watch a Formula One practice from the stands like a fan, like he used to. So he finds a luchador mask and he just puts that on, puts some glasses on over that, and he just chills in the crowd wearing a luchador mask. And I think that was just a fun thing to do.
it is a
It's
very fun thing.
it's a little more whimsy than I'm used to seeing from George, and it is a really fun. Just the idea of it, of George specifically doing that is really fun.
Yeah. Also Yang Yang here. Uh, it was great and all. I love it. But also, does that say how much the F1 tickets are? Where George Russell in his Mercedes or outfit, Tommy Hilfiger, I'm sure he has really expensive cologne on, nice
Mhm.
glasses. Everyone's there is just like, oh yeah, he's just another fan. Like he just reeks of money. The way he looks and everything. Is that how expensive those?
I mean, I'm sure he wasn't in cheap seats.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's just it's kind of like that. That's what I kind of thought of, but I did think it was awesome and funny. And I feel like George is one of those underrated funny guys.
You're right. Let's move on to our we spent a lot of time on the race, but to be fair, it was a lot happening
It
in
was
that
a
race.
great race.
Let's move on to our predictions quick that we did. We do 3 total, 2 normal, and then a bold. Lewis, what was your first one?
Uh, I up that tab. Give me. Sorry, I am was that whoever started in first will end first.
Nailed it.
Thank you. It was like a good band. Like I think I started.
Yeah, no. You nailed that and you nailed your prediction. That's exactly what happened.
What'd you get?
Someone unexpected will get the pull. I was wrong.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's expected that Lando gets a pull.
Well, I mean, my next prediction was Max wins the race. Uh,
Yeah. No. Well, it's better than my next prediction.
which
Saints will
was?
be in the points.
Ooh.
Is that an dude? I think this is the Formula Friday curse again.
Well, here's another thing. My bold prediction was Alpine will score a point. They came in the
Oof.
last. They were the
They
last people
sure
running.
did. Well, my bold prediction, which is probably the boldest one I've had all season, was Bortoletto will get a podium. So
Got a
we
point.
finally, huh?
You got a point.
Not a podium.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
we finally broke another streak in our time doing these predictions where we would tie essentially on our predictions. And this is the
Wow.
first time where I didn't get any right and you got one right. So if we were
Yeah.
keeping points here, you'd be ahead.
I'm the vibe champion.
Um,
That's
Now it's time for grid gamble, which is the other thing that we do keep track of points for. We're each randomly assigned a driver wherever they finish. We get whatever those points are. You had Isaac Hadjar. I had Liam Lawson.
I think we
Nothing.
yeah, I think combined we got a 0.
Yep, yep. Big old goose egg. And now let's move on to our driver ratings. These are mostly vibes. We can go into detail if we want, but I think we can scoot through these pretty quick in a way that makes sense.
Yeah. Starting off, first place, I had Lando. I gave him a solid 9. Great race. And fun fact, he has the record for this season for the longest finish or the most gap for finishing. So he finished the most seconds ahead of second place. There's words there that make sense. I
Yeah.
hope
No,
you got.
we can figure those out.
Yeah, we'll do it in editing.
I gave Lando a 10 out of 10 because he won the race. What the hell, dude?
I mean, he didn't do anything like I didn't do it wrong. He had a good drive.
No, I guess Max didn't have a 10 out of 10 season in 2023 because he won most of the races, right?
Yeah. No, Charles Leclerc, I gave him a 9.5. It was a great race. Just cut a little bit short. I just wanted that little bit more.
I gave him a solid 9. I think that he did a really good job. That entire race, that was a really solid job between him and Ferrari. I think
Yeah.
everybody just kind of fired on all cylinders. Pun intended.
Also, side note, maybe a little tangent here. Uh, Ferrari strategists are good now.
Let's not get crazy.
It's 2 weeks in a row. This is a new
Yeah,
streak.
it's 2 weeks in a row with 4 races left in the season. Let's chill out.
Okay, okay. Maybe that was a little bold of a take. Uh, Max, I gave him also a 9.5. Great race, just a little bit short.
I gave him an 8. It was fine. He raced well. He did a max.
And then Ollie, I but
We're both gonna be very calm about Ollie Behrman, right?
yeah,
Very
yeah,
rational, concrete.
I think he had a good race. It showed a lot of potential, and I give him a exquisite 10 out of 10.
Oh,
Bold
exquisite.
underline and italicized 10. That is the first I've done
Nice.
all three.
I'm giving him an 11 out of 10.
Whoa!
What the hell? Yes! Ollie's getting an 11 out of 10 for that
Yes,
drive. Are you kidding me? This one goes up to 11.
it was. If I can give points to the whole team, I would, because that was an amazing race from Haas.
It
Like,
was really well done.
where's this been their whole like the whole Haas career?
Well, it was because Gunther. That's
uh,
that's where most of it's been.
and the Fukendor.
Yeah. Oscar Piastri, what'd you give him?
Gave him a 9. Great race, and he battled like he was fighting for the championship. He fought like a champion today.
I also gave him
Sunday.
a 9. He qualified very poorly, and he was a shark. Genuinely a shark, hunting down every single position and just overtaking to the point where I was nervous that he wasn't going to finish below 4th. I thought he was going to get a podium and he was still going to be in the lead of the points. That's scary. Oscar is scary.
He
9 out
is.
of 10 drive for him.
Oscar is scary, and in a good car, he's scary. He's
Yeah,
a
he
young
spooked me.
Lewis
He kind of
or
is. He's like an
young
amalgamation of Lewis, Kimmy, and
Seb.
Max and
Yeah,
Seb.
yeah,
He has that championship vibe about him, which is why I'm comfortable saying he's got at least 3 in him.
yeah. Yeah. If Lando wasn't on the team, he would have had it already.
100%.
Like you
Kimmy
replace him with
Antonelli.
any. I gave him an
Yes.
8 question mark because it was a good race, but like, what's going on with the strategy? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know what could have been if the strategy was a little different and they did the swap faster.
I don't I don't know how much it would have mattered in the grand scheme, but I do think they could have held Oscar off a little longer. That might have prevented Oscar from scoring another point, and in this world, we got an Ollie Bierman podium, which would have been incredible. Probably not, but I mean, it's kind of like what I said earlier. I think that they had an idea of what they had a concept of a plan, and then George just kind of squeaky wheeled it a bit too much, and they just acquiesced to him.
Yeah, I I can see it. Uh, did you say your
I
rating for
gave
him?
George an huh?
I was gonna say, did you say your rating for him?
I gave Kimmy an 8 out of 10. It was they did fine.
Yeah. I gave George next up. I give George 8 out of 10. Same reason, but also side note, did he get the McLaren now, or is that still just lodged up there?
I think he went to the infield care facility after the race to get that sorted. George Russell, I also gave an 8 out of 10. Same exact reasons. It was fine. The strategy got weird. Actually, no. I'm going to deduct him a point. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 because of his complaining that actually cost them.
Oh, I like
I'm
that.
going to deduct George a point.
Ooh, the whiny tax. That's a new one.
Wine tax. That's what it was.
I next up I gave Lewis Hamilton a 9 out of 10 because granted he finished 8th, but he had a 10-second penalty and he can't fought back. And he had a great battle
He
with
did.
Max.
He really did. Leaving the pits 14th and managing to fight his way back up to 7th was very good. And if he didn't have that penalty, he probably would have been fighting for podium. Mm. I think he at least could have helped hold back Oscar.
Yeah.
Although their fight's probably more with the Mercedes than the McLarens. They probably would have let. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. What ifs? They don't matter. Esteban Ocon, what'd you give him?
Gave him a 7. He great race, made passes, and earned the points. Simple as that.
7 is exact. I gave Lewis a 7, by the way. Also, I don't know if I mentioned that. Yes. Also gave Esteban a 7. Gabriel Bortoleto.
Gave him a 6. Great race for the rookie. I mean, it was better than average. He was doing good. He scored a point.
I gave him a 7. Once again, he finished ahead of his teammate, who is more experienced and also in the same car. And I just think that this kid has a lot in him ahead of him. I feel like I say this every got a bright future in this
Yeah.
sport, and I can't wait to see him continue to grow because he's going to be a menace. If he's going to be a monster, but I think he's at least going to be a menace.
Next up, Yuki. I gave him a 4. Max didn't complain about the car, so what's Yuki's excuse now?
Yeah, it does feel a little like Yuki's kind of checked out a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I gave Yuki a 4 out of 10. Same reasons. Alex Albon.
Gave him a 4. Williams just didn't look good this week with the science problems, and then Albon just not doing Albon things.
Hmm.
What'd you give him?
I gave him uh 5 out of 10. That's kind of my mid range. It was fine.
Yeah.
Anonymous race. We know he can do better. We know he can do worse. He legally raced a race.
Next up was Stroll. I gave him or no, it was Hadjar. Sorry. I gave him a 4.
Hadjar.
8 to 13 with 4 DNFs in the race. It's not a very great race.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. We know he can do better, and we know the V carb can be better, and it was just bad. It was just bad.
Yeah.
Something with his track just wasn't clicking with him.
Yeah. Next up would be Stroll then. From P19th to P14th. And there's 4 DNFs as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, this is one of those weeks he didn't show up.
He didn't show up, but because he finished the race, he drove the entire race. That's a 5 out of 10 for me because
Is that how low the
he did
standards
it.
are for him now?
I mean, I kind of give that standard to anyone who just kind of completed the race. You know, they didn't do anything special. It wasn't anything crazy. He finished. Sometimes it's just a war of attrition.
Yeah, so you're very nice to him, unlike what I'm going to be to these Alpines coming up. I'll just combine both of these. It was Gasly and Colapinto. Gave him a 1 because last week gave him a 2, and guess what? They finished last again, -1 for the Alpine tax.
I'm also going to combine. I give them both a 4 because they did a little worse than, you know, they let Stroll beat them.
Yeah, I mean it's the Alpine tax. Like I literally put in my notes, like how are they this bad? Do they just like not care about this season? Are they only thinking about next season? Which next season, new regulations.
No,
It's
people forget.
yeah, I don't know. And then the last four, I'm gonna you can talk about them, but I'm gonna group them all together. I gave them all five DNFs for
Hmm.
weird things. It's kind of not one of them was self inflicted. It felt it was just car being car, not being car.
Hmm.
So I gave them all five. It was weird.
I gave Alonso, Hulk, and Lawson a 1. As you know, I just need to put a value in there. They didn't finish, that they just get a 1. I feel bad for Carlos because he just had the worst possible weekend imaginable. He couldn't have helped it. It wasn't his fault. It was all hell. So I'm giving him a 3 out of 10, mostly because I feel bad.
Yeah, it felt like Claire was back in charge of Williams this week.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with
it
Claire. It's
was
just
bad.
yeah, it just wasn't good underneath her leadership.
Hmm. Um so yeah, that was all of that. There's not a whole lot of news really this week. There's some stuff with Felipe Massa, but the only thing I really want to focus on today, Lewis.
Okay.
Today was Lance Stroll's birthday. Happy birthday, Lance Stroll!
Oh, happy birthday to my favorite driver on the grid.
And
Uh,
that has been Formula Friday. It was a bit of an extended race talk, but like we said, it was an action-packed race. A lot
such a good
happened.
race.
Every single lap it felt like almost that there was something happening, and it was good to go over it because it reminds you that not every race is a first 5 laps are exciting and then it's kind of a snooze fest until the first round of pit stops, and it's good. It's good to have races like this because it reminds us why we love this sport. Next week we'll be back and we will preview Brazil, which the 14-day forecast, by the way, Lewis,
Are we getting rain? We're
it's
getting rain?
supposed to rain.
Oh, we're getting rain in Rio de Janeiro.
Rain in Rio, incredible. I You know what? Okay. I'm probably gonna spoil a prediction I have for next week. I just want to get this out of the way before we finish up. Lewis is gonna get a podium here. Lewis might win. If Lewis is gonna win in a Ferrari, it's gonna be here. It's gonna be in Rio, and it's gonna be at his favorite track in the entire world, and it's finally gonna happen. Everything's gonna come together for him. This is it. It's this one.
I I I I hope so. I think we've said enough. I hope Lewis gets a win in a Ferrari.
Me too. All right. That has been Formula Friday. Until next time, I've been Nick. That's been Lewis.